Hey Daphne, are you there? I just needed to talk to you really quick. It's actually about Dad. You see, so if you could get back to me as soon as you can, that would be really great. I guess I can talk about it a little bit here, but the thing is that I think he's starting to get dementia.
Wait, what? Kayla, what are you talking about? Are you serious about this?
Well, it's just that even though he's so rich, he's being a complete idiot about his money. Haven't you noticed that? He has no idea how he should be spending it or what he should even be doing with all that money. So I think it would be better if he just gave it all to me, don't you think? Actually, I'm already in the process of trying to get an early distribution of his will so that I can have all of his money before he dies. Anyways, I guess that basically all I wanted to tell you really.
Hold on just a second. What are you talking about? This is all so sudden. I mean, I know that you had been going to visit Dad at home more often and all that. But do you really think that our dad is starting to develop dementia? Is that something you really think is happening over there?
I really do. I mean, I would know since, like you said, I've been spending so much time here with him. But yeah, I think Dad has basically completely lost it. I don't know what else we're going to be able to do for him at this point. I didn't think it would happen this quickly, but now that I think about some more, I think that he's completely gone. He's just an empty shell of the man he used to be. I think that it's probably just a matter of time before he even forgets how to speak. I guess we should have seen this coming, but would have guessed it would be happening so soon.
Kayla, I'm sorry, but I think this is all very, very strange, and I'm not sure that you're completely right about this.
Besides, I've already started the process to have Dad's will distributed before he dies. But I guess the estate people need some kind of confirmation from you as well. That's actually the real reason why I reached out to you, if I can be honest.
So then you're really going to try and go through with this weird living will thing? Are you sure that this is something that Dad would even want in the first place? Because I really wouldn't feel comfortable giving any kind of permission to this if Dad wasn't okay with it. Can we please just talk about this a little more before we make any rash decisions? This is really important, and we shouldn't rush this.
Ugh! Are you kidding me? What more talking is there to do? You know, this is why you and I never get along. I mean, do you really think that you're that much better than me just because you're the older sister? You need to understand that I'm the one taking care of our dad, and I'm only telling you what I see when I do take care of him. And what I see is a senile old man who might as well have his brains melting out of his ears.
Can you please not talk about our dad that way, Kayla? That's seriously disgusting. And I'm sorry, but I just really can't believe that our dad is as bad as you say. It just isn't adding up for me. I know that you've been going over to his house more and more, and I really do appreciate you doing that, Kayla. But I still think that trying to parcel out his will before our dad has even died just isn't right. I don't think it's something that we should be doing.
Well, thankfully, it isn't a decision that you'll have to worry about making since I've already made it for all of us. Our dad barely even knows what shapes are anymore. I'll show you something from my purse and he just stares at it like he's a baby with no knowledge of how the world works. And the fact of the matter is that you live so far away and just don't have the right to tell me what I'm seeing happen before my very eyes. That is why I had to take matters into my own hands and do what Dad no longer has the power to do for himself.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying that I don't think that Dad can be as bad as you're making him out to be. I mean, we actually just talked on the phone not all that long ago, so it's not like I haven't been in contact with him at all.
Well, of course he can talk on a phone, but he just don't understand what was happening there. Dad's muscle memory just kicked in, and that's why he was able to talk to you on the phone like that. You may have heard his voice talking from the other end, but it wasn't really him at all.
I'm sorry, but that is very, very hard to believe after the way you've been describing what he's like.
Well, I'm sorry that you find it hard to believe, but let me just remind you that you're all the way over there and I'm here with Dad in person. Got it? I'm the one who has been watching over him, and that means that it's my duty to make this kind of decision for him. So I'm going to send you the documents for the will, and then you're going to sign them. You don't mind if I just ensure that I get everything that's in there, do you?
What on earth are you talking about now? Did you just ask me if I mind if you claim everything in Dad's will?
Okay, so you did understand me. Then I guess that means you don't mind if I do that, right? Just consider it me taking my share for taking care of him.
But you haven't even really been taking care of him at all. I mean, it's not like you're there living with him and watching over him full time. You've just been visiting him more often this past month. And before then, you hadn't visited Dad in years and years, so I think that if you really want to go through with this will dispersal thing, we should talk to a lawyer first.
Well, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I mean, this is how Dad wanted us to do it. He said that he wanted his will to be given out before he died, and so you really shouldn't go against him.
Look, Kayla, you can tell me that he said that, but I still just can't buy that at all. I'm going to call Dad again and talk to him about this. Just please don't do anything until we've done our due diligence about this.
But why would you even bother calling him? I already told you that you won't do any good. He's only gotten worse since the last time you called him, you know. I don't care what you say. I know what our dad wants, and I'm going to be moving forward with it. You don't have the right to tell me what I can and can't do when you live so far away and haven't been with Dad like I have.
Kayla, give me a break. You know what this looks like, don't you? It looks like you only started visiting Dad recently so that you could try and steal his money from him. And if this is really what you're doing to our own dad, then, well, I'm not going to stand for it.
We just finished moving. It's all finally done. Consider it a final present from our poor senile dad.
What are you talking about this time? I don't remember getting anything.
Are you sure? You should check outside your door, because from now on, you're going to be taking care of Dad, not me. Anyways, good luck with that, sis.
Wait, what? No, seriously, what on earth are you talking about right now, Kayla?
I mean that I dropped off our senile old dad on your doorstep, and now you're going to have to take care of him until he dies. Meanwhile, I used up all of Dad's savings to buy myself a new big house. And don't worry, I promise to stay out of your hair from now on. In fact, you probably won't ever see me again since I've made sure that I'm going to get everything in Dad's will.
I see. So that was what this was about after all then, wasn't it? You were always only ever after the money, weren't you? And now you're telling me that you found a way to get everything in Dad's will, too? I tried to warn you that you shouldn't go through with that, but you just didn't listen to me at all, did you?
I told you that I was only doing what Dad wanted me to, so I don't get where you get off telling me that I was wrong. Of course, then again, maybe I was wrong. He was so brain dead and mumbly by the time I dropped him off that he really could have been saying anything to me. Anyways, either way, he isn't my problem now. He's yours.
So you're really just going to take all of our Dad's money and then just run away? You really are horrible. Do you know that? It's clear that you were never ever intending to take care of Dad. You were always only ever after his money, and now that you have it, you just dump our dad on my doorstep and run off?
And just what are you going to do about it, huh? Don't you know that I've already won? I've gotten everything that I needed from him, so don't waste your energy trying to scold me, Daphne.
You both are horrible, you know that? I can't believe that your husband is also just sitting back and letting you get away with this. You're both just horrible.
Well, I'm sorry, but can you really blame me for not having any more use for an old fart like Dad anymore? That's why I keep telling you that he's all your problem now. If you're really so upset over how I treated him, then you can deal with him now.
Well, you should know that Dad is sitting right here next to me and is laughing so hard at you.
What are you talking about? What is he laughing at? How can he even form a funny thought at the laugh at?
Well, I got home a little bit ago to let our dad inside, and you really have no idea what you're talking about at all. He isn't even close to senile. He's as sharp as he's ever been.
What do you mean?
I mean that he's here and he's talking just fine. He's very lucid and active, and he's been telling me all about what you've been doing to him. Then I showed him the messages that you've been sending me, and he just burst out in laughter.
Hold on a second. You showed our private conversations to our dad? What is the matter with you? Why would you do that?
And just why shouldn't I have done that when you were going to leave him here and make me take care of him?
But I mean, no, you don't get it. He's senile, but sometimes he has moments where he comes to. That's all. So just don't say anything to him because he still doesn't understand what's actually going on around him. Even if he says something about changing his mind, about giving me everything in his will, just know that he's not in his right mind at all, okay?
The only person who is losing their mind here is you, Kayla. Dad says that he was never, ever going to give you everything in his will.
Wait, what? What do you mean by that? Of course I was going to get everything.
This whole story you've been trying to sell me about Dad being senile was just one huge lie. He's as healthy as he's ever been. But now that I know that you've been lying, it just confirms everything that I had been worried about to begin with. You and your husband were in on this together just to try and rob our father of his money.
You don't know what you're talking about. This is just one big mistake, I swear.
Why are you even trying to cover for yourself right now? I already know that you were lying to me. It's all over. I know now that you were saying Dad was senile just so that you could try and fool me into going along with what you wanted. But it's over. I know what you were trying to do. I see right through you, and there's no point in carrying on this charade any longer.
But I mean, he really was pretending to be senile? I swear it. Unless Dad was just doing that to try and fool my husband. And I?
Well, you should see the look on Dad's face right now. He told me you just hit the nail on the head. He knew that you were trying to steal his money, so he told me that he was pretending to be a bit slower to see just how far you would go with this.
So you mean this is all just a big plot by Dad? And my husband and I just fell for it like that? I didn't know that Dad had that all in him. I can't believe that he would lie to us. I really did think that he was totally senile. But then, what about the documents for the will distribution?
Those were all fake. Dad told his lawyer about his plan to catch you and your husband in the act and asked her to draw up some fake documents. But, as you can see, Dad was never senile at all. He's as sharp as he's ever been to pull off something like this. The only reason I'm telling you all of this is to save the embarrassment and trouble of trying to go and get any of that paperwork processed.
So then, these documents are fake? Even though we got them from Dad's lawyer? But this doesn't make sense. I thought that I was going to get it all. I thought that all of Dad's money was going to be mine. Do you know how much money I've sunken into this scam?
Oh, please, you said that you were paying for all of this using Dad's savings anyways, isn't that right? Although you should know that you have until the end of the day to move out of your house now.
What are you talking about? My husband and I just moved here. We're not going to move out. This is our new home.
Well, Dad called one of his colleagues and made sure to stop you and your husband from living there at all.
What do you mean? What did he do? What could have he possibly done that is going to keep my husband and I from living in our new home?
Well, he called the real estate office and had the name on the deed changed to his. After all, it was his money that bought the house.
Wait, he put his name on the deed of our house? Can he do that? Is that even legal? I don't understand. I thought that I had everything planned out perfectly. How did it all come to this?
I just explained to you what happened. The only thing that you need to know now is that you and your husband have until the end of the day to pack your bags and leave. And now that Dad knows what your plan has been this whole time, you should also know that he's decided to leave everything in his will to me.
You're kidding me? You mean that I plotted so hard to try and make sure that everything in his will would go to me, but now it's all going to you instead? Does that mean that you're going to be getting all of his money before he dies like I was supposed to?
Of course not. Dad and I talked about that, and I told him that I was in no rush at all. Besides, all those documents were fake anyways, remember? So there would be no point in me trying to use them. But you should know that because of this, Dad is going to cut you off and never offer any kind of support to you ever again.
Wait, Dad is going to cut me off? How can he do that?
He can do that because of the way you and your husband were trying to treat him. Did you really think that he was just going to let this go? And just know that I'm going to follow suit and never ever talk to you again as well. Of course, it's not like we were even that close to begin with, if I'm being honest. But I just can't even stand to have you in my life after what you've done. I mean, how could you even try to do this to your own father and to me, your sister? You are nothing but a horrible, selfish woman, daughter, and sister, and you deserve whatever comes to you.
No, please. I really had no idea that Dad was just acting. I thought he was really going senile. I swear that I never would have done any of this if I knew that he wasn't senile and just his old self. Please, you have to believe me. You know that I wouldn't.
All that tells me is that you weren't going to try anything because you know that you wouldn't be able to get away with it. But we both know that it had been years and years and years since you had last visited Dad. Then all of a sudden you show up at his door because you think he's getting a little too old? It was so obvious what you were trying to do. Did you really think you were fooling anyone at all? It's not like Dad was even pretending to be senile from the start. But you just assumed that was what was happening when he would forget something now and then. So knowing that you were planning something and that you had leapt to the conclusion that he was going senile, the plan basically just fell into place.
But, I mean, so he really was just acting? He was never ever going senile at all? Are you serious?
That's right. He was only acting in a way that he thought would serve to fool you further. He knew that you were not the kind of person who would ever return to live with their parents in their old age.
But I mean, he didn't have to do that. That's so mean. It's not fair. We're family. We're supposed to be able to trust each other. How could he do that to me? I'm his daughter. How could he treat me this way? He's horrible. This isn't fair at all.
You expect him to be honest with you when you were literally trying to rob him blind? That's really rich. Do you know that? You literally left him behind the moment you thought you had gotten what you wanted out of him. Anyways, I would quit wasting your time texting me and tell your husband to start packing up. In the end, the real estate agent that Dad was friends with did show up and tell Kayla and her husband that they had only a few more hours before they would have to leave. They were both in such a panic and begged for more time. But Dad was out of patience for their planning and told them to quit wasting their time and get back to packing. He was laughing all night about how he had fooled the two of them with his senile old man act. And with that, Kayla and her husband lost out on not only their new home, but Dad's inheritance as well. After that, Dad formally cut her out of his will and told her he never wanted to hear from her again. I have no idea what happened to Kayla and her husband after that, and frankly, I don't really care.